In a recent discussion sparked by Elon Musk's social media posts, both SpaceX CEO Elon Musk and former President Donald Trump called for the immediate return of two NASA astronauts who have been stranded in space since their spacecraft malfunctioned in June. Their statements stirred a wave of debate within the space community as they expressed frustration over the prolonged stay of astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore on the International Space Station ISS. Both Musk and Trump argued that the Biden administration had neglected to bring the astronauts back to Earth, leading to their extended stay. However, the question of whether a schedule for such a mission could truly be expedited remains uncertain, as several logistical and technical challenges complicate the matter. Elon Musk posted on X, indicating that President Trump had directly requested SpaceX to bring the two stranded astronauts back home. Musk added that it was unfortunate that the Biden administration had left the astronauts in space for such a long time. President Trump followed suit, stating that he had asked Elon and SpaceX to retrieve the astronauts, calling attention to the fact that they had been waiting on the ISS for months and had effectively been abandoned. These remarks highlighted a shift in the ongoing narrative of the astronauts' mission, and many assumed a rocket launch could be hastened to rescue them, mirroring the urgency one might expect from a Hollywood movie plot. At the heart of this situation is the technical and logistical planning that NASA, SpaceX, and Boeing have been carrying out since the astronaut spacecraft malfunctioned. The Starliner spacecraft, built by Boeing, initially transported Williams and Wilmore to the ISS in June. However, after technical issues with Starliner arose, including concerns about the spacecraft's thrusters and its ability to undock and re-enter safely, it was decided that the Starliner would return to Earth uncrewed in September. These complications left the astronauts without a clear return schedule, forcing them to be reassigned to NASA's Crew 9 mission. This shift meant that their stay aboard the ISS would be extended significantly beyond their original 10-day mission, with their new return scheduled for February. However, due to delays in preparing the Crew 10 Dragon spacecraft, their return was pushed back to late March at the earliest. The astronauts' extended stay is not without consequence. Though they have remained in stable condition aboard the ISS, the emotional toll of isolation, missing their families, and the extended duration of their mission, which was initially meant to last far shorter, could have an impact on their mental state. The astronauts were not originally prepared to stay in space for such an extended period, which adds a layer of complexity to the situation. Although the technical capabilities are available to return them earlier, the political and logistical obstacles are formidable. Musk's promise to carry out the mission to retrieve the astronauts quickly, even ahead of schedule, was seen by many as a potential solution to the growing issue. However, the return of the astronauts would present numerous complications. According to NASA, SpaceX was already working expeditiously to bring Williams and Wilmore home as soon as possible. However, NASA emphasized the importance of maintaining a handover between Crew 9 and Crew 10, which might complicate the timeline further. If the astronauts were brought back early, it would result in a disruption to Crew 9's planned departure and would leave NASA astronaut Don Pettit on the ISS alone, a scenario that is far from ideal. While Pettit is highly experienced, operating the U.S. segment of the ISS alone would place considerable pressure on him, leading to the cancellation of planned activities like a spacewalk and requiring a single person to prepare a cargo spacecraft for departure. Moreover, the logistical challenges of waste management aboard the ISS would only increase if Crew 9 returned prematurely. With 7 crew members aboard, there has been a significant buildup of waste that must be carefully managed to maintain the balance of the spacecraft. Batteries must be stored in fireproof containers, trash bags need to be organized, and maintaining balance on the spacecraft is vital. These tasks become more complicated as the crew size increases, and the already strained resources would make the operation of the ISS much more challenging. In addition to the challenges of managing crew size and waste, the timing of Crew 10's launch is critical to the ISS's operations. Currently, Crew 10 is scheduled for launch in late March, but any delays could push the timeline further into April, potentially creating a situation in which Pettit is left on the ISS longer than expected. Further complicating matters is the fact that Pettit arrived at the ISS aboard a Russian Soyuz spacecraft, which is scheduled to return to Earth on April 20th. However, Soyuz spacecraft are only certified to remain in orbit for a maximum of 210 days, meaning that by April 20th, it will have been 221 days since Pettit's launch. This places the mission in a precarious position, with potential safety risks if the spacecraft remains in orbit for longer than the certification allows. Although it is technically possible to bring the astronauts back as early as next week, doing so would cause significant logistical issues for NASA, SpaceX, and their international partners. These challenges underscore the complexity of human spaceflight missions and the difficulty of adjusting plans on short notice, especially when several agencies and stakeholders are involved. Beyond the immediate issues of astronaut return, the investigation into the Starliner spacecraft's technical problems continues to progress slowly. Boeing and NASA have been working together to investigate and resolve the issues with the spacecraft, particularly the thruster failures and propulsion system anomalies that occurred during its approach to the ISS in June. While progress is being made in understanding the root causes of these failures, the problem has not been fully resolved, and the spacecraft remains unfit for crewed missions until these issues are addressed. The ongoing investigation and the development of solutions to the thruster problem are critical to ensuring the safety and success of future Starliner missions. At the January 30th Aerospace Advisory Panel (ASAP) public meeting, it was reported that integrated NASA and Boeing teams had made progress in closing out some of the flight anomalies and observations from the Starliner mission. However, the thrusters remain a significant issue, and the propulsion system's reliability continues to be a point of concern. According to Paul Hill, a member of the ASAP, while the committee is satisfied with the progress made, the thruster issues have yet to be resolved, and additional testing campaigns are needed. There is still uncertainty about when Starliner will be ready for its next crewed mission, and it is unclear when a new flight will be scheduled. Boeing's management of the Starliner program has also undergone changes recently, with John Mullen returning as vice president of Boeing's Commercial Crew Program. Mullen's return is seen as a critical move to ensure that the development and execution of Starliner missions stay on track. His experience in leading the program through its early stages, including the orbital flight test in 2019, is considered invaluable as Boeing works to address the technical issues that have plagued the spacecraft. Under Mullen's leadership, Boeing hopes to accelerate the certification process for Starliner and move forward with crewed missions once the spacecraft is deemed ready for flight. Despite these efforts, the timeline for Starliner's next mission remains uncertain. NASA has stated that it is exploring options for Starliner certification, including potential windows for flights in 2025, but no firm timeline has been established. The ongoing investigation into the spacecraft's technical problems, particularly the thruster issues, will determine when Starliner can be cleared for its next mission. In conclusion, while the idea of a quick mission to rescue the stranded astronauts is an appealing notion, the reality of such a mission is fraught with logistical, technical, and operational challenges. The current schedule for the astronauts' return, delayed due to complications with Crew 10's Dragon spacecraft, has already faced several setbacks. The possibility of an early return, as proposed by Musk and Trump, would create additional complications for NASA and its partners, including pressure on the remaining crew and significant operational concerns aboard the ISS. Furthermore, the ongoing issues with the Starliner spacecraft add another layer of complexity, as Boeing and NASA work to resolve the spacecraft's technical problems before it can be certified for crewed missions again. As the situation unfolds, further updates from NASA and SpaceX will be critical in determining the best course of action for the astronauts' safe return.